You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 30th meeting for the Michigan City Economic Development Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Michigan City Economic Development Commission. Today is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. The time now is 1 p.m. As we call this to order, I would like to start off with attendance. Christopher Willoughby.
Present.
Tracy Tillman, present. Mark Yagelski.
Present.
We do have a quorum. As we would like to keep to our agenda that is before us for today, and if I could entertain an approval of our minutes from April 22nd, 2025.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
We have a first by Mr. Yagelski and second by Mr. Willoughby. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Minutes are approved. Next on our agenda, we have public hearing on the proposed issuance by the Michigan City, Indiana, of its Economic Development Tax Increments Revenue Bonds, Series 2025 Solar Project, and the Taxable Economic Development EID Revenue Bonds, Series 2025 Solar Project.
Madam Chair, we do have Mr. Renna from POLA and Jason Simler with us today to kind of explain those. And we do have Alan here as well. We do have the developer as well. Scott Goodman here from Farpoint, representing Farpoint. Do you want us just to kind of jump into an explanation of what
Yes, please.
what these are and tell you a little bit about them and how they work, if you will?
Yes. And before we do that, if I can just also indicate for the record that we did hold a workshop on this, and council was in attendance regarding this as well. So if you would,
Sure, I
elaborate
can,
further.
however you want to do, I can speak about this process, or do you want to speak about the project first? Maybe?
How about if I let Scott tell us a little bit about the project in a nutshell? I know we had the meeting. Mark, you probably haven't heard, well, you've probably heard a lot about it, but would you like to give a nutshell of the project to both you and Chris?
Please, thank you.
Tell us a little about what it is, rooms, condos, etc., things of that nature.
Happy to. So as I've expressed many times before, we're really excited about doing this in Michigan City and everything that's happening in a positive fashion in this town and all the things that you guys are doing to make it happen. So, and the mayor as well, and all the leadership. So SOLA is a mixed-use project. It consists generally of 188 condominiums, of which 18 are townhomes. It will have a hotel, which we can finally announce publicly. It's going to be a Marriott branded hotel. It'll be a residence hotel. It's a Renaissance hotel with 342. Sorry, I'm misspeaking a lot here. 242 rooms. There will be about 20,000 square feet or so of retail. About 300, just under 400 cars of parking. A vast amount of amenities for both the condominiums, for the hotel, and even for the public as well. We are excited that we have 36 reservations already for condominiums with non-refundable earnest money, so that's a real benefit, because out of the 188 that we are building, only 130 are really going to be on the market for immediate sales. The remainder will be long-term rentals, so we think, which is a real positive thing for the community. There'll be 2 swimming pools, one for the hotel, one for the condominiums. There'll be food and beverage. There will be, a limited service hotel, so there'll be banquet space on the top floors and for events. We think that's going to be a huge draw for the community and a benefit as well. That's it in a nutshell, but I can go on for a lot more. We're really proud of this product.
The two pieces we're putting in place, just so for everyone's knowledge, it kind of ties into this. At the council level, we're looking to put in an EID, an Economic Improvement District. which would be specific to the space of SOLA, it has its own description. And then on top of that is a TIF allocation area, Randy, a project-specific TIF allocation area, which is laid on top of the EID as well. But the EID is a vertical EID, so they're basically taxing themselves with that EID of everything inside that space and vertically. Does that make sense? So there's two tools, TIF and the Economic Improvement District, that will be in this space. Hence the two bonds you see before you today. There are two major milestones that have to be hit. August 19th is one of those, and December 19th. August 19th is the final of getting through council and getting the tools in place and the bonds in place at that date. From August 19th to December 19th, the developers will take those tools and go back to their financiers, people that they have aligned, and basically show them the proof of what we've provided, the tools, the incentives, and put all that financing in order at that point in time. So that's what we're segueing into what we're doing today.
And just for clarification, mostly for public, these tools that we're using are statutorily created, right? So these are options that allow projects such as this, if the town is inclined or city is inclined to move forward, that they're provided by code and options.
Right.
And I'd just like to add, just because I think it's really important, that there's absolutely zero liability to the city as a result of these instruments. These are all falling and guaranteed by the developer, but they're tools that need to be ratified by the municipality and overseen by the municipality, but all the liability lies with us.
Yeah. I'll let Randy explain a little bit more
Yeah.
maybe about that.
Yes, no, so I'm Randy Rampola with Martin Thorberg. We're serving as bond counsel to the city. And Jason Semler is here from Baker Tilly, who is acting as municipal advisor to the city, so he can get into the numbers if need be. But essentially, the Redevelopment Commission entered into a development agreement, which Alan helped put together on behalf of the commission, that provided for the city and the Redevelopment Commission to offer incentives to the developer based on what they were proposing to build that Scott described. And so there are, as Skylar indicated, two bond issues. One is an economic development revenue bond that would be payable solely from that project-specific TIF. I would, and I'll try to say it a couple of times so it comes across clearly, this is unlike the Station Block project and unlike some other projects, there's no backup from the city. As Scott indicated, the city's not on the hook for either of these series of bonds. The TIF bond would be payable solely from the incremental increase in the taxes expected to be generated as a result of the project. There will be no city backup. I know when we did the Station Block project, there was a backup involved there, and not expected to be needed, but it was there. This is not that. So just for anybody who's thinking of Station Block, this is a repeat of that. The steps are essentially the same, but the ultimate financing structure is different in that the city has no, and the Redevelopment Commission has no skin in the game, if you will, in terms of being obligated. If the taxes, if the assessments are not quite what the developer expects them to be, or for some reason, God forbid, the taxes aren't paid, the TIF won't be generated and the bonds won't be paid. That the bondholders will bear that risk, and the developer will have to deal with that. The city won't have any reason to be, the city's not on the hook for that. The second bond issue, as Skylar indicated, is based off of an economic improvement district where the district will levy assessments for the property that's located within, which is essentially the project, because the EID boundaries are set up that way. And that process is before the council now, along with these two bond issues that the council would consider as well. So there are three ordinances in front of the council. One relates to the creation of the EID district, and then the two bond ordinances. One is for the TIF bond and one is for the EID bond, essentially, and that's the ordinances that you have. And the resolution you would adopt would provide for both series of bonds, and the documents that you got, the forms of documents you got relate to those bond issues. So the EID bond itself, again, would be payable from the assessments also. And to the extent there is, from the TIF bond, if there's any TIF remaining, it would be pushed over to help pay on the EID bond also if necessary. So within that box of available revenues, nowhere does the city appear. It's the TIF that would be available and the EID that would be available. And bondholders for both series of bonds, to the extent there's a shortfall, that's the risk that the bondholders would be bearing, because there's no requirement or authority for the city to pay on those. So the process is, the redevelopment commission is going through the process to create the separate allocation area. And that's a process that goes through the plan commission and the common council and then back to the redevelopment commission. The council has before it the ordinance to designate the EID, the Economic Improvement District, within which those assessments would be levied. And then the third piece is the financing itself, the financings themselves. One of the steps is having you as the Economic Development Commission hold the public hearing and consider the documents and adopt a resolution recommending to the council that it move forward. That's just common practice under your statute 36712, that you're obligated to consider it. Obviously not obligated to adopt it, but obligated to consider it. If you do adopt it, then that would go forward to the council, and the next meeting of the council is August 4th, where they would have second reading on all of the three ordinances. So again, if you look at the EDC resolution, it provides for a TIF bond not to exceed $47,500,000. The EID bond, it says not to exceed $80 million. And the reason for that is we are anticipating that there will be two separate series of bonds, one TIF and one EID. But the 80 is meant to be the sum of both. So it would be 47 and 33 roughly to get to 80. In the event that the underwriter for the bonds, in consultation with Baker Tilly, determines to do one bond issue instead of two, then it would be not to exceed 80. So that's why you see the 47 and 80. It really is 47 TIF. And if we do a separate EID bond, it would be roughly 33 million. But if we do one bond, then it would be the not to exceed 80. And that's why it's written the way it is, just to provide that flexibility. And then you are approving the forms of the documents, which I think you've been provided, and I'm sure as we talked about it in some of the other projects where you were active with the redevelopment commission, these are simply forms. The resolution and the ordinance provide the parameters for the financing, but you are required to be considering and approving the forms of the documents. And if the council does, you take your affirmative action today and the council does adopt the ordinances, as Skylar said, as the developer works with its underwriter, we would finalize the documents to mirror what the underwriter is saying, again in consultation with Jason and his team, as far as what the bond structure would look like, but it will be consistent with what's in the ordinances in terms of the not to exceed interest rate, the term, and the sources of payment. None of that could change. So the idea that somewhere, if anybody's concerned about somewhere, the city will change and there'll be a backup, that can't happen. We'd have to start the process all over again. That's not the structure. It's never been the structure as we've been talking about it. So going forward, the things that will change will be, terms may change, but the underlying substance of the deal will not change for both issues.
Meaning the max
Exactly.
and process. So
Everything.
State code and our city
Yes.
code dictate that if, as you were
Right.
indicating, we'd have to go back and
Exactly.
go back to the drawing board if we wanted to be
Right.
in compliance with the law, right?
Right.
Which everybody here is focused on.
And that's, the ordinance speaks to that. It says that the terms of the documents can change, but they can't change beyond what your 36712 allows. And so that's where we're at. The calendar is such that, I think Skylar said it, we would, if you adopt your resolution today and the council, either at its next meeting or the meeting on the 19th adopts the ordinances, then I think we're anticipating bonds being issued and closing before year end.
Yes, that is
Is the
correct.
calendar.
That is correct from more words in their mouth, but that is our anticipation before the end of the year. Then all of our readings at council would be done. The reason that 19th is kind of that hard dead is that that's the last meeting of the council for August, and we would have theoretically, if we needed third reading, we'd have it on that day. We may have it before then. I don't know what the pleasure of the council will be, but that 19th was that date to get us through the 3 readings of the ordinances and et cetera.
The last thing I would say in terms of the maximums, those have been set out based upon the TIF estimates that are being generated, and I don't know, Jason, you can speak to those, but based on the development that the developer is proposing to undertake, that's been reviewed, and the TIF number is based on that. The EID bond size is based on assessments that the developer is indicating they would assess of the property owners within the EID, and so that's again based on that bond structure. I would just, if you want to comment on that.
Mr. Ugilson, you had a question.
Not specific to anybody, but one of the things you're talking about was the parking, 400 parking spots. It seemed kind of small to the number of residents plus the hotel plus. Is there an alternative parking spot, or does that seem adequate? Just the numbers.
It's been deemed adequate, although we will be pursuing other off-site parking too during those times of busier times like now, for example. So
It seemed like the number was relatively small to the size.
Yeah, I would also say that the reason for the partnership with the hoteliers, there are other partners here in the city with that same hotelier, and there might be shared services, things of that nature with that hotelier, the Marriott brand.
So each of the condos will be deeded spots, or not deeded actually, they'll have the right to spots. And then for the hotel, when you valet, you can actually stack cars and get a lot more capacity in. So that 400 number actually expands by about 15% when you valet it. So there'll be excess capacity that way too.
And then, is there any obligation, because what happened when the vote came in, I know this is not the same thing, but is there intention for the hotel tax still to be paid to the chamber, or to the,
Yeah, all those taxes are still in place. The CV, your head and bed tax, absolutely.
So
All those things are
it's not
still
obligated,
there.
it's not obligated?
No.
Okay.
In fact, when you see what Mr. Rumpole was alluding to, the EID will be an additional, basically, fee, if you will. I won't call it a fee. It's kind of assessment. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it'll be in addition to that collected tax for that bed tax. Absolutely.
Okay, 'cause I know there was, some problems with other developments. The last question I was asking, and I'm not familiar enough with the TIF map, but is this duplicating a TIF? Is there a TIF area in there already?
It's
I
part
wanna
of the,
Mr. Randolph.
I was going to say, it's part of the existing TIF. It's part of the consolidated TIF the city has. And so all we're doing is establishing a new allocation area within that. So we're not expanding the boundaries of the existing TIF, if you will. All we're doing is saying that within this specified area, that's a separate project allocation area. So we will capture the increased assessment and apply it to this bond issue.
Only in that
Only from
allocation.
that
And could
allocation
you
area.
elaborate and say what the consolidated two TIFs are? Which
Yes,
TIFs got
the consolidated
consolidated?
TIFs are the south TIF, and then we added some TIF in the middle, and we went down Michigan Boulevard, and then we basically consolidated the south TIF to the north TIF. Still have separate areas, but we consolidated those TIFs in order to be able to use money more fluent, be more nimble in those TIFs, if you will, fluid. And then we wanted to get down the boulevard because the boulevard didn't have a tool at the time, and we think that could be a very helpful tool for the boulevard and everything in between this north and south TIF, essentially. I would also say that the north TIF goes away in 2027, a large portion of it, by creating a separate allocation area that essentially lets the bonds continue to live within that allocation area and be paid from it once the north end TIF goes away.
I'm not understanding enough about the city finances. So as far as police, everything else with TIF and schools, are we seeing any problems with that developing like it is with the obligations of?
Great question. No, it's a great question. We create pass-throughs every year through our technology grants to the schools. And actually this year we just bought a bunch of police cars for the policemen. We try to, so we can actually, the rules have changed a little bit more flexibly. I think they finally realized that when development happens and development begets more development, then you have to account for all the other things that come along, policing, fire, those things, right?
Right.
So it's allowed us to be able to be a little bit more flexible with how we can use our TIF, and we create a spending plan every year that we submit to the DLGF, and it accounts for some of those things you just mentioned.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the questions.
And we did file, this was the first year you had to file that spending plan, if I'm not mistaken, and we filed ours. Baker Tilly helped us file it.
Okay, thank you.
I should add, so this is a public hearing, and we did publish notice, and just
Yeah,
to
okay.
confirm that for the record.
Didn't open that up yet.
Okay, is there any other questions from the commission? No, there are none.
Madam Chair, you can open up the public hearing at this time.
I would like to open this up for a public hearing at this time.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I'm not sure how all this stuff works. I was wondering how we getting all the way here and the land has exchanged hands. I know it's got something to do with redevelopment and economic development, but I don't see how the people benefit from this that live here 365 days a year, such as myself. I'm 58 years old. I've lived in a TIF right now for 34 years. Our roads, and there's a lot of things in our community that we don't receive none of that TIF dollars. It seems like all these TIF dollars going to outside projects for people who are coming here to start business. Nobody here in our city is benefiting from it. I'm confused. I just like to know, how will the people benefit from the sale of that land? When will the city get that money? How will it be dispersed? I would like to know those kind of things. It might not be the right place to ask that, but it's just seemed too much shady stuff going on with this administration. Everything being done in the dark. One person jumps out, the next person jump in, next person jump out, next person jump in. Clarence, Skylar, all you guys, I don't trust none of you. And I don't think the people do either. We just want to know, moving forward, quit leaving us in the dark with these projects. Because I don't see how, if you're not a homeowner, how that building this motel or whatever, how is that going to benefit us, the people? And it's not. And people that don't have, that's renting, it's only driving rent up higher. And we're creating more and more of a problem for those who are less fortunate. The middle class is almost out of here now. So we need to start thinking, and how much are you willing to give, Madam President, to have some new construction come here? You know, I've seen 10-year tax abatements. I heard some crazy nonsense about a 40-year tax abatement. How much are we willing to give to get these projects going? Some projects you need to just pass on. If these people have the money to come here and develop it, it's all on them, let them do it. But the taxpayers losing out on the tax abatements, that's not right. That's wrong, and it's been misused by Clarence, and it should stop. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick. Are there any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Public comments are now closed. Any comments from the commission? There are none. I just lost my train of thought. We're now closing the public hearing. Next, we have the resolution 02-2025 of the Michigan City Economic Development Commission approving and authorizing certain actions and proceedings and with respect to certain proposed economic development revenues bonds for the solar project.
Madam Chair, I would like to read resolution number 02-2025 by title only.
Yes, sir, you can go right ahead.
I have to be second first.
Yeah.
It's second.
Yep. Second.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
all opposed.
Anyone opposed? There are none.
Resolution number 02-2025. Resolution of the City of Michigan City Economic Development Commission approving and authorizing certain actions and proceedings with respect to certain proposed economic development revenue bonds for the solar project. Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 2025.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
By Hunt, aye. Any opposed? There are none. This resolution carries. Next, we have the report of the City of Michigan City Economic Development Commissions concerning the proposed financing of economic development facilities for YAB Development Partners, LLC.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to approve a report of the Economic Development Commission concerning the proposed financing of economic development facilities for YAB Development Partners, LLC.
We have a motion by Mr. Willoughby.
Second,
Is there a
Madam Chair.
second? We have a second by Mr. Yagowski. On a vote, all those in favor by aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. The report of the City of Michigan City Economic Development Commissions concerning the proposed financing of economic development facilities for YAB Development Partners, LLC has been approved. We're going to move down to our general discussions. Do we have any discussions that we would like to entertain at this time?
I think we addressed most
We
of that
addressed
on the
that
front
earlier on
end,
the
but
front
unless
end,
there's
yes.
I'd like to just mention, I'm looking forward to the development coming to Michigan City. I know it's stated that we won't see the money coming to the citizens. Yes, you will, because we have not seen an increase in Michigan City, LaPorte County, or the city of LaPorte in the last 15 to 20 years. So I'm excited about it. With the question coming out, I do have rental homes. And just because a developer develops a rent that just pays substantially more than mine, that's not why it's going up. Yes, there should be more development for other prices, but this has nothing to do, A has nothing to do with B, which has nothing to do with C. So rents do not increase because of those reasons. I think if it did, I'd be more than happy to receive them, but it doesn't work that way. But is there a need for development? Absolutely there is, and I hope that the city does look at that in the future to the comments that were made in public. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Looking forward to seeing it moving along. Thank you.
And same as well, my same sentiments. And again, this will be brought before the city council on Monday, August 4th at 6:30 during our common council meeting on second reading. I'll open this up for public comments. Any public comments are to be for 3 minutes. This is open for public comments. Public comments? Are there any public comments? There are none. Public comments are closed. And may I entertain an adjournment?
So,
Second.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good
Aye.
evening.
aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your support. We're really excited.